into the online broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans, producing after-shows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows, interviewing celebrities and showrunners, and bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Oh yeah, here we are again to do our recap. I think I'm still on mute back there, JT. We are here, we're gonna do the reunion show. I can't hear myself. But we're gonna do the reunion show, and we're just gonna see all the drama that they had. It's pretty fun, pretty fun. I'm your host, Stef Z, and on the panel tonight, we got a full panel. Who we got?
Hey guys, how y'all doing? It's Virginia.
Amanda Fields Bennett.
And Michelle Uberreste.
All right, well, let's just get right into it. What you were doing helped. If you could do more.
Okay, will do. You know, I was very surprised because I seriously hated Karina towards the end, and I didn't feel any different now after watching this, because she was like, oh, poor me, and it's like, no, you were a complete biatch.
Well,
and then they showed her being a complete biatch the entire time, which
we
made me
have
so happy.
evidence of you being this way.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even give her the biatch. The girl's a bitch.
Okay.
Straight up.
I'm just gonna say it. No hard feelings. I'm sure everyone's got their own opinions, but for me, it's like, when you're gonna do that stuff, she didn't take responsibility till the end. She kind of took half-assed responsibility.
Yeah,
I agree.
And then she cried. Where woe's me?
Everybody hates me. They're sending me death threats. Well, you should.
Well, but that's not funny. I mean, that's a step too far, Virginia. That's a step too far.
Okay, but you know, internet people are crazy.
They are.
Right in with their comments.
And it's like, if you go on a show like this, you gotta know. Like, we know sometimes people write stuff they don't like us. They don't like what we have to say. But like, when you put yourself out there in a platform to be judged, like, you gotta be able to take that with a grain of salt. And she's just no.
I think Karina, she just totally didn't have any redeeming thing to say tonight. We were all waiting for her to just say, you know what, I really messed up. I really made a mistake. I shouldn't have said that. I was waiting for that, and she didn't.
I would have liked to see if...
I'm having a technical
Sorry, we're having a little technical difficulties with our volume, and now that's good for me. I don't know about you, but I can finally hear myself.
I feel like we're sharing headphones, and I'm turning mine up when I turn yours up.
Oh.
Wait, what number? Oh, I think we have...
Are we swapped?
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, yeah. Let us know.
I can hear you. Michelle's over here just taking it all in.
All right. Well, anyway, yeah, I just can't believe she didn't own up to it. I really thought that she was going to. Sorry, we're just having a brief.
Okay. What did you think she was going to do?
So loud.
Oh, no.
Sorry, we're having the giggles. We're just happy to see each other one last time.
I know. Oh, that's so much better. We got it sorted out. No, I'm too loud. Turn me down. All right, guys, we're so...
Okay, we gotta get it together. Come on, guys.
You gotta turn me down.
Oh my god. Here, we're flying by the seat of our pants tonight, but Karina really did surprise all of us, because I mean, we were hoping for that moment of just like redemption, like, okay, maybe she wasn't a total bitch after all. Maybe she wasn't horrible.
No, she is.
I think she was just being more instead of, you know, being... Maybe she was sorry, I don't know. I'm guessing she was after she saw herself on there, but I feel like I got more like of her being defensive than being like, I'm genuinely sorry, it's not about me. This is about me apologizing, and not being like, I'm sorry, but this and this and this.
Yeah, I mean, she's one of those people where if she wasn't, like, if there was no reunion, there would have been no apology, there would have been no tears. She's just, it's all about her. I mean, I think we're all on the same page. It's just kind of all about her. Mm-hmm. And I feel like, I don't know, man. And again, like, and I've said this the whole season, then we see Char be the bigger person again, because everyone feels bad for the girl who cries. You know what I mean? It's just like...
Karina was just saying how she apologized. And I tried to apologize, and you wouldn't accept my apology. But I was like, no, you didn't apologize. Apologize again right now, Karina. Like, I was waiting for you to just apologize. And she never really did. And finally, Char was just like, okay, I'll hug you because you're not coming over here to hug me. I know that.
Right, and I feel like it was very much, like, exactly what you're saying. She still didn't want to do the work. She did, like, if she would have came out there, like the girl, like how Char said, she had to be watching this season. So if she would have came out there and been like, girl, I messed up. I see it watching back that that's not who I am. I'm really sorry. Just that plain and simple. I think Char would have been like, okay, I get that. But it was just on and when. That's what it was.
Well, and there's been seasons,
like a baby.
There's been contestants in the past who have been just like horrible the way Karina was, and then they've come back. Was it Ivy? I can't remember her name, but you guys can always, of course, tell us. But, you know, she came back for, I don't remember if it was All Stars or something like All Stars. And she was like, I was horrible the first time around and I don't want to be like that again. You know, so like people acknowledge it, but it was like she just didn't want to acknowledge it.
She didn't want to take responsibility.
Exactly. No, and then when they showed her being that way to Amanda, I was like, see, it's not just Char. Like, you were that way to Amanda.
And even after she got she apologized and Char finally accepted the apology, she was kind of just like, then she was fine. Then she was like trying to think she had like, was able to, and like she was chiming in about Sandaya and like all these other things. And it was just like, wait a minute, you just got cleared your name that everyone thought you were like the bitch of the show and not like in the good, cool Tim Gunn way that he likes the word bitch. And now, you know, like, just keep it cool, like stay positive for the rest of the show. No.
Yeah, leave on a good note.
And I'm so shocked because I don't know if you guys remember, but in the beginning of the season, like the first episode, Karina kind of had an attitude, but it wasn't as bad. Like in the beginning, I kind of was like, Amanda's the one with the attitude, and we see why. She came in and she probably had her walls up a little higher because she was the returning one, and you know, after watching this and seeing her like not in the show, like I don't have any problems with her, but I kind of liked Karina in the beginning, and she like set herself up to not be liked.
Well, Karina was clearly this season's villain, and the producers kind of showed more of her saying the negative things than the positive things throughout her day. So I feel like there were a couple of challenges where she should have been sent home, and it's crazy that she doesn't ever see it that way. Like, Karina stayed on the show even though she made that horrible green dress that Heidi said, don't make it in this green. And she went back and got another awful green. Right. And it wasn't even constructed well. Right. And then she stayed on the show. She doesn't see that, like, they kind of saved her in that way. Just because she didn't get an official save doesn't mean that they also saved her.
Yeah, no, I understand what you're saying. It was just very petty with her. Like, I feel like that's the thing. Like,
ungrateful.
Yeah, but even more so, it's like people aren't gonna like everybody. Like, we're in a world where people are so different, like so many things. There's opinions on everything, and it's like not everyone's gonna like everyone. And it's like she almost had that thing where like she needed Char's approval or like validation in the forgiveness, but like she's not gonna be a better person because of it.
And she doesn't really care what Char thinks. She just wants Char to forgive her.
Yeah, it's just very immature. You know, some people just need that, okay, you know, I'm not that horrible person that you think I am, even though I am. Like, that's her thing. Like, she really is awful.
Yeah, and it wasn't like she was like, okay, I see how I was. Like, thank you guys. Like, I'm going to take this new perspective into my designs and into these other projects. Like, there was no, like, I'm really glad that I'm seeing this in retrospects and now I can be a better person. It was just kind of like, I just need you to forgive me. And it was just like, Yeah.
And the weird part is no one addressed how crazy she was acting. Tim Gunn didn't say anything. The designers didn't say, oh my gosh, why are you acting like this right now? They didn't question it. They just kind of let her.
But it's funny because a lot of people, you know, they had half of the designers out first and half backstage watching this. And kind of the designers that knew her and then they got kicked off after a couple of challenges, like really early in the game, were kind of defending her, saying, oh, I'm on Karina's side. So I find that kind of interesting because I feel like maybe she started out fine and then she started having more, you know,
pressure,
confrontations and stuff like that.
I think if you were a woman competitor, you were not on Karina's side. But maybe if you were one of the guys that she wasn't as competitive with and she didn't really trash talk. then they were like, I'm on her side.
Go ahead.
I mean, that could be part of it too. But even when Shar was talking to her, she was, you know, saying, she's like, we both had construction issues. And Karina was like, well, yeah, but, you know, it's like, no, like, you both weren't that great. Like, you need to accept it. And she was like, oh, well, you were talking about my construction, you know, and I was talking about your personality. And so, you know, and it was like, no, you're still calling her a bad designer. You take that personally when you're on a design challenge show. You know?
But also, I give Shar balls for saying that. There's not too many people, I don't think, in this world that would be that honest. They would, like, say it on TV, fine, we're on TV, whatever, and then behind her back would be like, yeah, I just said it because blah, 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 blah. Shar's like, girl, I don't like your heart.
Yeah, that was
But that was like, she's like, I don't want your apology. And in the same sense, you know, like, I know we live in a world where you want to be kind to everybody and all this stuff, but sometimes some people just don't deserve that, like, okay, clearly we don't do this, like, go away. You know what I mean? It's like, they were hateful. Some of the things Karina said to her were just so wrong. Like, on so many levels wrong. And I don't know if it was because it was Shar or because it was Karina. Like, if someone else would have got the Tim Gunn save, do you think that Karina would have been so bent?
Well, and, you know, they were saying how they were really, really close. You know, so sometimes girls, when they're really, really close to you, they know exactly what to say to really, really hurt you and, you know, like, turn the knife. And I feel like that's how Karina is.
I feel like everything that came out of Karina's mouth this episode was, like, super
hateful
to everything. It was it was like laughing out, like trying to, I mean, I get it. If you know, it's competition. If you think you deserve to win, I get that. But she took it way too far.
Yeah. Well, real quick, segueing into what you just said, Michelle, you deserve to win. How do we feel about Keeney's little response that he deserved to win?
He was still pissed, I think.
He's still pissed.
He's definitely a little
Who says
loser.
that, though?
Not only that, but, like, just be nice. Like, Sean is sitting right there.
Okay, but
be complimentary to the
if they would
designer.
have asked Amanda, she probably could have said, yeah, you know, I thought, you know, I backed it up, but Keeney was not second. Keeney kind of botched that. So,
but even that, in his delivery of that, like, I feel like Amanda would have been way more graceful in that delivery. She would have been like, yeah, you know, I felt like my collection was good, and of course I thought I deserved to win, but clearly the designers thought Sean did, so he won. You know what I mean? Keeney was just I have the best construction, I should have won.
I feel like he went in too confident.
That's kind of how it made me feel, and I was like, whoa.
Yeah. I feel like he went in too confident. So then he was kind of like, oh, I can just kind of do this and it'll be great. But, you know, he didn't expect the competition that he did in the finale. So then he was really disappointed with himself, I feel like.
Well, you know, Tim Gunn questioned Sean about his progress through the episodes and through the challenges, and how at first he was, like, in the bottom, and then he worked his way out of that, and he was asking Sean how that happened. I wanted them to turn it back to Keeney and say, where did you lose it? Because Keeney was doing really well in the beginning and impressing the judges and doing really great pieces. And then all of a sudden towards the end, I think he got too comfortable or just lazy with it. Because he's like, I can just make whatever I want. So I'm just going to make this and it's going to be fine with the judges. It's like, no.
Which is weird because he didn't really, like, there was a lot of times where he thought, and maybe we thought, he was going to win and he didn't. So it wasn't like he just won all these, so he got comfortable. It was like, I mean, the first win was like a double win, which was kind of horse crap. But you know what I mean? So I feel like I totally understand what you're saying, but it's like, I don't know.
Challenge?
Yeah, and it wasn't
which was crazy. And I think in all our minds, we're like, Sean won the rain challenge. Like, anyone, like 2 years from now, if someone's like, hey, remember that Rainway, who won? People are going to be like, Sean.
Yeah. And I think that's the thing. Everybody, like, Keeney, he made nice clothes and everything, but it wasn't innovative. Like, Sean's were the ones that were innovative. He was the one that was growing throughout the season. Like, Keeney,
Keeney should work for Sean.
He should.
And they can, like, produce mass stuff.
Yeah, but there wasn't anything that Keeney ever blew me away with.
Yeah.
Other than how fast he could sew and how well it was constructed.
I thought he had really good, you know, but I think Sean just had a higher taste level.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which sometimes, you know, it comes down to style. It comes down to the judges' style. And, you know what I mean? Like, in anything, it's like you have to play. Like, if you know the judges don't like something, even though if it's your favorite thing, like, you kind of have to know that they're not gonna like it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, as much as it's a challenge, there's like rules of the game, and so to speak.
All right, well, this might come across as a little bit Karina, but I feel like this season they had a few really good designers, and then they had a lot of designers that were just there for like being a certain type of character or filling a certain spot, and like, we need this type of person, we need this type of look, we need this type of age group, and someone from some far off land, you know. But like, I'm like, why don't they choose people that are all like higher level designers?
I don't know. I mean, it's an interesting question, because I'm sure through the process, through the casting process, Michelle, you've been through something like this before. It's you have to meet certain criteria. So, you know, it's like, I agree with what you're saying, but I also don't think that, I mean, they're showing a portfolio, they're showing some stuff, like, they don't know all of these things. Like, they don't know that Char's pieces might take her longer than Keeny's pieces to, like, they don't really watch the designers and get into their background that much, so they pick their best guess. Because I would have to, and maybe I'm wrong, and I know that there's a typecast for drama, but I would have to say that there's dramatic people no matter how good their level is. So if they had that level, they would pick them, because they want people to be wowed by the show. You know what I mean?
Maybe they don't have that level of talent anymore that are going out for the show, and they're just doing something else.
I mean, when I was, you know, doing auditions, I felt like there were really stellar people. They didn't pick them. And I think it's for the reason that you think
for television
purposes. And I feel like they
purposes.
do put too much emphasis on the drama part of it and not enough on the design. Like, I feel disappointed many times when I watch the show, because that's what I watch it for. That's what my friends watch it for. Everyone's like, we want to see cool, innovative.
Right, but then what you're pretty much saying is that maybe they didn't pick you for your talent because you brought some drama to the show. And do you want to believe that? Like, I feel like that's like,
no, I think
I'm not saying you did at all. I'm just saying.
I mean, you obviously have to have some talent to get on their show.
Right.
Michelle was picked for the right reasons, though, because her work was really stellar, and I disagreed with when they eliminated you. It was one of your strongest pieces. I know we're bringing it back to Under the Gun, but
but then you think about it, and then there was like Crazy Natalia, which she does really good work. Like, I've seen her chainmail crazy thing that she does, but then you think she was crazy on the show, and they liked that, you know? So,
but they can't also just take the stellar that's gonna blow everybody else out of the water, because then it's gonna be not fun either. So I'm sure there's so many different things, but to say that they picked the cast only on drama,
I don't think only.
Yeah, I think it's got to be a mix.
But
well, they pick dramatic people, and then they're like, these are our top 3 that are probably gonna make it to the top 3.
Maybe. But here's the other thing. You know,
you're just like a conspiracy theorist.
I am.
Jeez. Must be the beanie.
I don't think you're too far off. But when they're when they're casting people, you know, they interview you intensely, but really everyone has different work styles. So you could have a really great designer go into that room and not know how to work under that pressure.
That's what I'm saying.
With certain, you know, challenges and time constraint, and I do really great work, but it takes me months. So I think, you know, it's hard to predict, like, okay, is this person really going to deliver when they get in there? Like,
and also, how can you you can't know the drama level either. Like, you can't possibly have been like, when Karina walked in, be like, she's gonna be the bitch. Sign her up. You know what I mean? I mean, maybe with her. She's got
but Virginia.
Bitch face.
Yeah, Virginia was saying she had a bitch face. So.
Oh
you
man.
know what I'm talking
yeah,
I totally want to be proven
exactly.
wrong. I totally want to go have like a whiskey with Karina. Just give her a hug. I do.
Maybe she needs that.
Hey, I'm a good hugger.
She needs a whiskey and a hug.
That should be a song.
It couldn't hurt.
And a hug.
Oh man. So yeah, what else really stood out for you guys? I mean, I know we're kind of just talking about the drama of the show, but there wasn't, you know, there wasn't a runway, so we got no runway rundown. There wasn't.
Which was interesting that they didn't really even highlight the work that they did.
They did for like a second, and then they're like, nope, here we go, drama.
Yeah. Well, they did show Sundaya how, you know, she thought everybody hated her, and they were like, oh no, we love you. But you know, Tim was saying, he was like, I don't know what you're talking about, but they were kind of mean to her.
They were so mean to her.
They did pick on her.
Yeah.
And so I don't know why he said, I don't know what you're talking about, because to me it was very obvious that they kind of picked on her.
I thought so too, and even when we had her call in, we heard some of what was actually happening there, so I kind of thought they grazed over that one a little bit.
but I do feel like she's a more sensitive person as well. So, you know, a lot of you have personalities in that room. So, you know,
Right.
you have people who are going to be honest with you, and, you know, it's kind of also how you take it. And I also felt like, you know, Amanda was kind of talking about that too. Like, I came back and it seemed like everyone hated me at first because, you know.
Yeah.
But you can't take that personally because
Right,
everybody's going to be like, ooh, she's competition. She's done it before. Like, they're not
But
going
I feel like, and I totally agree with you, Michelle. I just feel like some of the stuff that they got upset with Zendaya for was her being smart. Like, I remember like when they said that she could ask everybody else for their money, and then she did, and she got fancy fabric, and they got pissed at her. Like, a lot of the other drama was because like one said this and one said that. Like, she was always just like, eye on the prize. How do I get there? And I'm gonna, like, they said I can do this, so I'm gonna do it. And then people were like, she took everybody's money, got nice fabric, and it's like, well, you just didn't think of that.
oh, yeah, totally
Yeah.
agree with that.
Yeah, which is kind of crazy.
Well, and also Zendaya, she stuck to her guns. She really believed in what she was designing, which is actually cool. Like, you don't always have to take Tim's advice. I mean, sometimes she did, but most of the time she was like, no, it's gonna be good. And I feel like her appearance on the show is strong because she stuck to what she really wants to do and sticks to what she believes in, and that's cool.
No, I like it, and I like that she has like an underlying tie to her clothes, and you know, for someone like her, and again, like, you know, everyone has their personal challenges and stuff like that, but for her story, kind of like, it was really bold that what she's doing, even being on this show for her is probably a greater step, not greater in like better than anyone else, but like maybe a harder step from where she comes from than other people. So I give it up to her. You know, she was one of my faves all the time.
So Steph, just in case people are watching this recap and they don't know in the earlier episodes what her story is, can you remind people a little bit?
Well, yeah, she came from India, where like women were suppressed, and I remember in her first showing she had like little guns and like all these imageries of like I feel like it was her self-expression to get out of this stuff politically, which, you know what I mean, like we all have our emotional conflicts in our childhood, but like her childhood, you know, and maybe it's just me that feels this way, I don't know how you guys feel exactly, but like it's something different than what we take for granted here growing up, how we grew up, and it was something that's out of her hands. So for her to incorporate that and try and find power in seeing these things to create something and using her like creative energy for that, for me, that's kind of awesome.
And I feel like that's why she's a little bit more sensitive when people come to her and critique her, because I think she does take it personally, because maybe that was her experience in the world before she grew up, you know, when she was a kid, to have that like, oh no, we won't listen to you because you're a girl or something like that.
Yeah, and I feel like it was very, she said it tonight too, that so many times we saw this too, like people calling her stubborn and this and that, like when people just like critiqued her outfits or her looks, whatever, she was like, okay, I don't feel that way, and she was strong with it. So she wasn't so sensitive to the critique of her work, but it was when she felt like her as a person was attacked, she was sensitive. And again, yeah, maybe that's because she's had a little bit of a different road than most of us.
And that's another thing, I'm proud of her for standing up for her designs with Tim and just saying, no, this is what I want to make, and it's cool, like especially with her story and background.
Right.
But I think it can be different too when you're taking critique from a judge or from Tim, and then taking critique from other designers.
Right.
You're like, okay, well, is that their place? How are they saying it? Because you know the judges are, you know,
Good intentions.
not personal at all.
Right.
So, but when you get in there with a bunch of other designers who, it's a very weird situation, like you're competing against them, you're living with them and you're friends, but they're your competition. Like, it's a weird scenario.
Dynamic. Yeah. No, I agree with you. I think that it could be super weird.
Well, I mean,
and
it
I
could
think
be
she
like-
played, you know,
Yeah.
for the most part, it was pretty. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, but I mean, I just think like there's always those people that like, I don't know if you guys have ever watched Survivor, but you know the guy Russell that like purposely would like
The original season?
the one where he could throw people's socks away. No, like the really mean guy that
Oh.
would like, I mean, he would like burn their socks and just make them miserable while they're there, and that was his way to win Survivor, was to just make them not comfortable. Like, I definitely feel like there can be people like that on the show, that they create drama to make you not focus on your work. You know, and so
Right, to take your head out of the game.
Yeah.
But I feel like you can never win that way.
I was just gonna say
because you're not focusing on your own work.
Yeah, and Sean didn't do that, and he won.
Yeah.
So.
I love Sean, even though he was
We
kind
love
of mean
Sean,
to her too. Like when they showed that little scene, I was like, oh, I didn't remember him being kind of like a jerk.
You know what I'm pretty upset about? I'm gonna have to tell all y'all what I'm pretty upset about. I'm pretty upset that they had this reunion in Los Angeles,
And they didn't
no one came to our
invite
show,
us.
or they didn't invite us.
I mean, at least to
crap.
just like sit there and listen.
We should be invited next time. We'll bring some mics. We'll interview you guys. It'd be fun.
Yeah,
I'll give
Zendaya.
hugs.
How did Zendaya not tell us?
I don't know, man.
Maybe it was like a confidential thing.
Yeah,
couldn't
maybe
talk
they weren't
about.
allowed.
Yeah, but I mean, we could have been on the set. There was like 10 people there.
Yeah. Well, they could have,
Yeah.
or they could have called us right after they were done.
Yeah.
Hey, we're here.
Yeah.
Book a show right now.
But I
we would
mean-
have been like, come on.
Come on down to AFTERBUZZ.
What's her
TV.
name lives here?
Karina?
No,
Amanda?
No. The
Angela
Emily?
lives here.
Who?
And Carrie.
Angela.
Angela and Carrie.
Angela, the really cute Asian girl that got
really
kicked off
neurotic.
really early because she
And
was.
she was like a
she was like
nervous
a
Nelly.
panic.
Yeah, wait, time out. Talking about some of the ones that, like, you know, stuck under the radar. Samantha, man, I wonder what happened to her. We're wishing you,
Yeah.
we're sending you some
She's from
love
San
and good
Antonio.
energy. Yeah, we're sending you some love and good energy,
would
Samantha.
like
we
to
hope
know
everything's. We don't
what's
even.
going on.
We don't even need to know if it's personal.
No,
but
I
we
mean,
wanna
I want to
love
know
you.
that she's healthy.
Right.
You know, that's all.
Yeah. I wonder what's happened. But that was something was up and we all noticed. We're like, where's the girl that kind of flew under the radar?
And I guess I like totally. I don't know if you guys felt like this watching out there, but when they showed the girl with the long blue hair, I'm like, who's that? Who's that girl? I don't remember her.
Yeah, there was a few at the beginning that I
But
forgot.
you don't remember that whole thing because they were like on a team and it was like terrible and they were
It was
trying
the
to throw Zendaya
first-
under the bus.
First episode, I guess.
I think it was the second one.
I don't think I watched the very first episode this season. That's
Because
probably
Zendaya
why.
was with Carrie and Hernan, and
Oh,
she
I forgot
had,
about Hernan,
She
too.
had
Hernan.
immunity, so she couldn't be kicked out, and they kept trying to blame everything on her. And that's when Carrie went home.
Okay.
I don't remember.
Yeah.
It's forgettable.
It was
It
brutal. I can't believe you don't.
But I mean, that's
remember
kind of
it.
how the first couple episodes go. The people that, you know, we lose, we're like, who are they again? Sorry.
But the
I
cool part
wonder
is
too. I wonder.
Oh.
Sorry, go ahead.
the cool part is there are people from like the first couple episodes that have gone on to do really cool things. Like John Wade, he was on season 2 and he's been high up in the Marc Jacobs company for a
Oh,
while.
really?
Yeah.
I totally forgot what I was
So
going
I'm
to say.
saying they can still make a career out of it and still like, you know, have it on their resume as a stamp of approval.
Yeah, but is that because of Project Runway or just because he went out there and hustled?
Okay.
A little bit of both. A little bit of both.
Yeah, I'm sure Project Runway, you know, gets you a
But
couple
he
more
made it really
calls.
far.
But-
Yeah.
Wait,
Yeah.
but you know what I was going to say and I forgot again.
It's okay.
No, what I was going to say is I wonder if, like, it would be really fun to know the statistic of, like, casting of who they think is going to get to, like, the top 3. And if that always happens. Like, if they're like, yeah, we like this person, but we know they'll kind of lose soon. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like, it'd be
yeah.
interesting just to see. Or to take a tally.
Yeah.
We should start doing a tally every season. Like, who we thinks.
In the first episode, who do we think will make it? Who do we think will get eliminated first?
Yeah. All right, cool. Is there anything else before we wrap up, guys? I mean, it was super fun. It was thanks you guys for tuning in again. Lisa Simpson's Rules. You rule. We're gonna miss you when we're not here.
So we didn't watch All Stars yet, but Virginia got a peek of it. Do you
I
want to
did.
add anything about that?
It looks really good. I mean, it's mostly season 11 and 12 alum, and they brought back Dimitri and Michelle, who I
And my
hate.
fave.
I hated Michelle.
What's my favorite's name again? Helen.
Helen Castillo.
Love her.
Yeah. So, I mean, it looks like it's going to be a great season. Unfortunately, we're not going to be recapping it here. There's just a lot going on in all of our lives. I'm sad, though, because Alyssa Milano is pregnant, and so I wanted to see how they were going to dress her. Well, I'll still be watching.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We might try and do one every now and then, but we'll see. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
But it looks really good.
Yeah.
It looks like
Well,
there's going to be
I'm-
a lot of drama.
I'm excited
Oh,
that
there we
Chris
go.
March is back on because he's from season 4, and he's just so
You love
good.
those young seasons. You're like
That's-
Flashback
no,
Friday.
'cause that's 'cause
Throwback Thursday to season 1, 2, 3, 4.
That's
That
the
was like
people
the
that-
epic
that's the-
classic episode.
Well, that's because that's the people that I got to know.
Well, I was gonna say that's when you were on it.
And
Yeah.
he's like a really funny designer.
Yeah, and he's a
Like,
costume designer.
He's a costume designer.
He's
Right.
so cool, and he does costumes for plays in New York all the time, so
Yeah,
I'm excited.
he's
to
done
see.
like Beyonce, Lady Gaga.
Yeah.
Like he does really, really cool stuff.
And when he was in Fashion Week in New York, he did a decoy show, but it was like he had clothes with like hair on it. It was so crazy. But it was like hair extensions that he put like on the clothes, but then he dyed it, and it was, I don't know, it was cool.
I think I remember that one.
It was
I
kind
have
of
no idea.
bizarre, but cool.
I don't
Yeah.
remember at all.
All right.
I'm
Anything
sad
else?
that they don't bring back Under the Gun people.
Hello.
They did?
No, that they didn't.
Oh.
Yeah.
But you know, I feel
They
like
told
that's
us we were eligible, but I think I feel like they kind of want to sweep that whole thing under the rug a little bit.
The Under the Gun.
I feel like that didn't happen.
Under the gun, under the rug.
Right.
Oh.
Dum-dum.
I don't know. We'll see.
Not under the rug over at AFTERBUZZ.
They have to run out of like bringing people back 2 or 3 times from old seasons at some point.
Hello, Kate.
They should vote on who comes back.
I feel like that would be like who do the people want to see?
Not only
And who do
that,
people want to see compete?
Right.
Yeah,
Well-
but what if there was like a glitch?
I have something I need to say.
I don't know what you're talking about voting glitches.
I don't think-
have no idea what you're talking about.
I do not think that if you have won a season of Project Runway or Under the Gun or anything, you should not be eligible to go on All Stars if you already have won.
Totally agree with you there.
Why?
It's
Because
not
you've already
fair.
won. Like you're done.
You've
like,
already won.
It's
Don't.
a second chance
Right, but-
type of deal, you know?
But
Like,
then
but
it
they
should
all
be,
get
and
second
across the board,
chances.
that's got to be consistent that if you lost, you can only go on All Stars.
What do you mean only?
Like if you, so Amanda, it's not fair for Amanda to go on regular Project
I
Runway.
didn't think so either.
So she should, if the people that win can't go to All Stars, the people that lose should only be able to go to All Stars.
well, that's a
agree.
good rule. It would make All Stars more exciting.
But I think the thing is, I think it's exciting because there's 2 winners against each other. You know, like
Or it could be all the
winners.
winners.
Oh,
That would be
epic,
really cool.
epic.
Then it would
Okay.
be like the Project Runway Olympics.
yeah,
Showdown.
Masters of the Universe.
Showdown.
Masters of the Universe.
It's like that high noon showdown. Wah, wah,
I think that's pretty
wah.
genius. I think it would up
The
the
ante.
level of
People would watch that.
Yeah,
show.
because you'd think like Kristen Siriano against like Mondo.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
It would be definitely
Against
drama.
Sean.
Against
Yeah.
Sean.
But Mondo won All Stars, but not the regular season.
Right.
So then he can't be on it.
But he's a winner.
Okay.
He won all stars.
See, I wouldn't
know.
know.
Maybe they should rename it all together, and it wouldn't be All Stars. It would just be like Project Runway winners.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But
Winning-
I just think
winning
that would be
winners?
that would be a crazy season.
Yeah,
to
you guys
watch.
should do that Project Runway. I think it's a good idea. I think
That
your
would be
ratings
the,
would.
that would be like the epic finale of Project Runway
Because
if they
most-
ever went
yeah,
out with anything.
Because most people only remember the people like Karina that they can't stand or the winners.
Mm-hmm.
So it would already have that audience coming back to watch.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like that'd be a really good idea. All right, that's about it. Anything else before we wrap up?
No.
I'm just grateful for everybody out there that is faithful to our little show.
Yeah, it's super fun. Michelle, let's start with you. Where can the people find you?
You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Uberreste, and my website is michelleUberreste.com.
You guys can find me on Twitter and Instagram at The Runway Queen.
And you guys can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Virginia Reyna.
You guys can find me on Twitter and Instagram as well at I am Stef Z with an F. And I need you to go there and I need you to click on my link in my bio and I need your votes on this video that I made. Help a girl out. Give me a vote. All right. Love you guys. It's been a fun season. Take care.
Woo!
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.